My name is Bill Conrad. I live in Bascom, Florida. I'm a fifth-generation farmer on the land that my great-great-granddaddy homesteaded. And we started in the hay business in 2002, and with a county agent helping Doug Mayo. And we've been doing it ever since. We started April Peanut in 2004. But we did everything. We mostly raised row crops back in the day, and then finally eventually turned it all over to hay farming in the late 2015 or 16 or so. We started doing full-time haying. We got out of the custom harvest business, and went in 2018 and went to straight hay. We grow mostly Purdue peanut. We also grow some alfalfa along with the peanut. But we have different varieties of peanuts that we've been growing. This is one of my fields here by the house, and this is original field was planted around 2004, floor graze, and this is a Tito was planted around 2000. And you can see the difference. Both of it's dry land, but the Tito just got more volume. It looked like it could stand the dry weather a lot better than the floor graze. This is my original seed plots with the piece and Tito. The piece is on my right, Tito's on my left, and there's Tito behind me. But there's just a big difference between the growth of the Tito and piece. The piece is real thick, compact, where the Tito is more airy and higher. It's got more growth height-wise. We're actually phasing out all the piece. This is the last of the piece I got. We're going to lean it more towards the Tito because we just get so much more volume on my place than the other. But we're taking old stuff out. We're looking at taking out old floor graze and putting it in a Tito next year. Irrigation is just a high-cost insurance that you're gonna make hay. If you just have a stream year, peanut is very drought tolerant, and if you don't have it, most of the time you're gonna make hay. But it does pay to have irrigation. So you do have, when you got commitments to fill, orders to fill, irrigation is kind of there to help you be sure you're gonna be able to fill your orders. This field has been watered about 3 times. We probably done put about 3 inches of water on it already. Where we was at just a few minutes ago was a dry land field, and you can tell the difference. This is about twice as high as a non-irrigated. It's just been so dry. But the Tito seems to be one of those peanuts that can stand the dry weather as pretty good, because last year our dry land fields did almost as good as our irrigated fields, but with the exception of the last cut where it just got so dry it didn't do very well. But the first 2 cutting was almost as good as the irrigated. We're standing in one of my Tito fields. This is probably the first field we cut. If you kind of notice, it's over about a foot high or so. We're gonna probably cut it as soon as the weather breaks, probably Saturday. We'll start cutting on this field. But this is a Tito field. It's about 5 years old, I guess now. People ask me all the time about weeds in the Purdue peanut. Do they have to spray? Yes, it's a necessity to work on your weeds in the Purdue. The quicker you can get it, the smaller you can get it, the better job it's going to do. We're in a field that was very clean until it started raining, and all of a sudden these weeds just popped up. So we're going to have to hand pull these. But we got dog fiddle, burnweed, cudweed, we got some milkweed that just all of a sudden come up after the fact, after we got a good rain. But yes, you will have to spray Purdue peanut. And we do have a few chemicals that's labeled to help with that, but you got to catch the weeds early. First thing in January, what you do is you get your spray tank ready so you can get your Roundup ready. That's the most important spray I think I could say is your Roundup in February to get it to get all your winter weeds killed down so your peanuts comes up clean to start off with. Doug wanted me to talk to you about growing alfalfa in Florida. Well, he ought to know, I call him up all the time, especially when we first started, how to do this and how to do that, and neither one of us knew what we was talking about. But over 20 something years. I started back in 2002, so I guess I've been growing it 23 years now. Alfalfa is a wonderful field to grow. I love to grow alfalfa because it's fast, it's quick. You get early hay quick in the year. You get multiple cuttings through the year, up to around 8 cuttings a year, which is nice. The only problem with alfalfa, when it starts getting that 100 degrees, near that 100 degrees and hot at night, it shuts down. All it wants to do is just shoot up a bloom, so it gets real stemmy. And you go from 40 bales down to 10 bales, and you got to cut it every month. We cut it every 30 days. If you want really high quality alfalfa, cut it 21 days. You'll have some extremely high quality. You just won't have the volume. This alfalfa is almost 10% bloom, so I get both, best of both worlds. I have a quality hay with the volume. It'll be in the low 20s protein versus the upper 20s, but you get some volume with your cutting. So it depends on what you're feeding and what you want with alfalfa. You can kind of regulate it. Okay, we're in my alfalfa field with a pearl peanut next to it. This alfalfa field is on its second year of growth. We have harvested this alfalfa already 3 times this year. We're fit to cut it Saturday for our 4th cutting already. The peanut next to it hadn't been cut yet. We're planning on cutting it sometime next week, be our first cutting on it. This machine is a self-propelled. It's got an 18-foot header on it, and the only reason I bought it is where I'm more comfortable. I cut down a lot of acres really quick in the morning and get it started drying earlier today. But it was used. It wasn't like a brand new one. When I started with an old 1411 New Holland mower conditioner that was used. You don't have to have a conditioner with peanut. I think just a regular mower works pretty good. But we went from that mower to a bigger mower conditioner, New Holland, and now we're stepped up to a self-propelled. It's just more comfortable. It don't wear you out. You don't have to look back. Everything's in front of you. But the whole goal is to cut down hay really quick so you get it started drying quicker today, so it'll be a little drier by the afternoon. A lot of times we'll take and rake that hay up about dark to keep the dew off of it so it don't turn brown. And then we'll tether it back out the next morning. But most of the time, we do tether hay right behind the cutter, especially if it's any thickness at all. And then if it's real thin, you can actually leave it in the windrow, dry the windrow, but most time just about 95% of the time, we actually tether our peanut hay to get it dry as quick as we can. And the dry just helps with the quality because the peanut is aspirating, still trying to grow until it hits about 50 to 40% moisture. So you wanted to stop it so it keeps its nutrients in there. We kind of go by the height of it. We don't want it over knee high. We do want it over ankle high though, to get some volume. If you don't let it get a little over 8 inches high, you don't get much volume. From 8 inches to 12 inches is kind of where we like to cut it at. We tried to cut where we got at least 4 days of good drying weather, and we tried to dry it as quick as we can to get the most quality in the hay. This is our new addition in rakes. We got a small basket, and then we got this double, and then we have another double crow rake over there that is actually for square beller. This is actually like a round beller rake, but it pulls everything to the middle. But I like baskets rakes because you can rake it a little bit damper, it'll handle the windrow better, and it fluffs it. And when we roll it, this rake is ideal to roll hay because you take one side and roll it this way, and take the other side and roll it back. So you don't have to skip in lanes. So you just go across the field at one time. This is a new addition. We tried one we actually got for the expo where we won the overall hay contest that year. They let us use one for a year, and we kind of like it. Even though we don't round roll much behind it, we still square bell behind it. It don't seem to be no problem. Just a few little adjustments. It works really good for us. Here's a new addition to our farm. We was able to buy a guy out that was going out of the hay business, and he had this tractor and a baler, the accumulator, some grapples, and we actually added the front end loader to it so we could actually pick up hay, unload hay with it. it's always extra good to have a spare loader around when you're doing hay, because always something happens. But the tractor's a little bigger than what we need, but it's a real nice tractor. But it came with the deal with the baler. We normally run inline balers, but this is a side pickup baler. But that's what he had on his farm. And he had an 18-bale accumulator, which we run 18-bale flat. 15-bale flat. But this accumulator is an 18-bale on edge. So we're experimenting how we're going to do the two different types style of baling, but we'll probably keep them separate in the barn so we can pick up with different grapples. And we do have a squeeze so we can pick up either one, and we'll show that to you in a minute. Here's a Cood. Accumulator is called Northern now. And the way this thing works is all gravity. There's no electronics on it. It's all gravity down, fed down, and the gates close as each slot fills up. And when all the slots fills up, it flips the trigger up there, and then it dumps the hay out, and then you start a new pad. So, and we come back, after we did the pad on the ground, we come back with a tie grapple and tie it, and then we put that on the trailer, and then we unload it with the squeeze or just a regular grapple. This here is an 18-bale grapple. The difference between it and a 15-bale is got an extra row of hooks on it because the bales are on edge, so they squeeze. There's 6 across instead of 5 across, but it's still 3 long. So that's the two differences in the grapples. Inline MaxiFerguson baler. We can really like it because you drive on the road, you don't have nothing sticking out to the side of you. You got to remember that's sticking out there. But this baler's getting quite old, but it still runs like a new one. But it's hooked up to a Cood 15-bale flat. So with it, we use a different tie grapple and a different grapple to load and unload the hay. But we also have a squeeze over here that will unload either one. This squeeze will pick up 4,000 pounds, so we can pick up 3 to 4 pads. It's cool what your equipment can handle is weight-wise, but it'll move a lot of hay real quick. The whole idea is to get it off the trailers and under the barn real quick so we get back to the field. Because that's one thing we have a problem with. We get the hay to the barn, everybody runs to the house, and you are stuck to midnight unloading hay. So hopefully this will speed our unloading hay up. And right next to it is a 15-bale tie grapple. And what this does, we take the hay in the field, and we come in and put it in pads, and this puts a string around it so we don't have to tie it on the trailer. It'll fit, it keeps the hay in a block. So we go up 5 high and bring it to the barn and unload it. With that string around it, you don't have to worry about it falling off. We just built a new barn this year. We built it ourselves. This barn is going to be totally enclosed. I've been wanting a totally enclosed barn because if you put an open barn, your hay's going to fade. And if the rain always blows in on it, and you're going to have some damage. So we're hoping with this barn, we're going to keep prettier hay and be able to store more hay at my farm instead of having to go to another place to store my hay. We don't have a concrete floor, nothing, so we put down plastic first, then put a pallet on it, then put the hay on the pallet, and that seems to work the best for us. But I actually built all my pallets now. So we actually went a little bit higher with the pallets to get a little more airflow, and the hay is just as pretty on the bottom as it was on top. It seems to be what we need to do. We have some customers that are really small that buys 5 bales at a time. Then we got customers buy semi loads, and every one of them's different. We feed warm blood horses to quarter horses, from goats to sheep. So everything we cover a pretty broad spectrum in a hay bed as far as feeding different type animals, even cows. We sell still a lot of cow hay at the Pearl Peanut. The way we market our hay is by word of mouth mostly. We tried it, when we first started selling hay, we tried advertising and everything, but what really sold the hay was my wife loaded up a truckload of hay and went to the horse show and sat there in the lawn chair and started selling hay. And from that, we started our business. Up to then, we sold very little hay. But the word of mouth was the best advertisement we had. And now we still don't advertise. It's just basically word of mouth. and we sell hay from South Florida to North Georgia.